Okay, a major development today in the case of two fired scientists from a Winnipeg lab 4 years ago, as the federal government has just released documents relating to what happened after opposition parties demanded they made public. And they show at least one of the scientists was found to be intentionally working to help China.
It is very clear when you read the documents that the employees in question were involved in a variety of different scientific enterprises that were not disclosed, information was not given, and that they had relationships that they didn't provide information about.
And what were those
And those relationships, the relationships that they had included concerns that there may be connection to their involvement with China.
CSIS did a later assessment based on a second interview, which shows an evolution in their thinking and assessment. And that's because between interview 1 and 2, they clearly had gathered some more information.
Right.
And then when they brought it to these scientists, especially Dr. Q, it was denial, not telling the truth, not remembering these things. It does this overall assessment about loyalty, saying that Ms. Q developed deep cooperative relationships with a variety of People's Republic of China institutions and has intentionally transferred scientific knowledge and materials to China in order to benefit the PRC government. And herself, without regard for implications to her employer or to Canada's interests. And the benefit to herself is there's these talent programs that she said she knew nothing about, but the CSIS says they have applications with her name on it where she applied for these programs where basically you are helping further the scientific...
Talent programs in China? Like
yes,
to work for the Chinese government?
But here in Canada.
Right.
And you get paid. There's benefits, financial benefits. So there's also in the description of the interview they did with her, yes, she finally admitted she had an account in China, but it only has a little bit of money for when she travels over there and that kind of thing. So there was a lot of contradictory information they said in this interview. And they say she repeatedly lied to her security screening interviews about the extent of her work, blanket denials, feigning ignorance, or tell outright lies. They say she's simply not credible. They talked about her being reckless in her dealings with various PRC entities, particularly in her lack of respect for proper scientific protocols regarding the transfer of pathogens. And this goes back to what we were talking about with her expertise on the Ebola virus and that kind of thing. So finally, they basically assess that they say that it's up to the government, up to the Public Health Agency of Canada, whether or not to revoke her security clearance. Same thing with the other scientist, her husband. But it's clear from their language, they say that if you were to give her, if she were to retain her security clearance, Canada's national security and the health of individuals may be put into jeopardy, as there is no indication based on our extensive research and interviews of her that she would change her behavior in any respect. And it's very similar letters and assessments of her husband, the other scientist.
Okay, so the bottom line here is that both of these scientists, a married couple, were found to have been leaking scientific information to the Chinese government, potentially for their own enrichment, in violation of all the protocols. And that as CSIS dug deeper into it, the risk assessment became even worse, and ultimately their security clearance and their employment were revoked as a result of this. And that they denied it right up until the point they were confronted with irrefutable proof, and then that was it.
Even actually, if you read the interview, even once presented with the irrefutable proof, there were still denials.